My awful family demands their part of my $1 million insurance claim. So I turned their world upside down. I ran away from home when I was 16. My family is incredibly toxic. My father was verbally, mentally, and emotionally abusive. My mother enabled him and was mentally abusive in her own right. I was forced to work full-time in addition to going to school because I was expected to pay rent in addition to repayment of money spent on taking care of me as a kid. Eventually, the owner of the restaurant where I worked offered to let me live in the apartment upstairs for very cheap in exchange for some extra side work. I agreed and I moved out one night in secret. There was an awful blow-up and my father showed up at the restaurant and demanded to know where I was. Thankfully, the hostess and another waitress knew everything and told him I quit and they didn't know where I was. I haven't spoken to my father since the night I left home. He knows I'm alive and well because I called my mother and I know she told him. I wouldn't tell her where I was staying, just that I was okay and wasn't coming back. The one person I stayed in touch with was my younger brother. I felt guilty about leaving him behind with my parents and our equally abusive older sister who still lives at home with them. My father was always worse to my brother. Maybe because he was the only boy so he could take it? I don't know. I am convinced he drove him to suicide. A little over a year ago, my brother took his own life. It gutted me. I wish I could have done more. I feel like I failed him. I also found out that my father was just going to abandon him at the morgue and let him be buried by the county. I couldn't do that to him. So I called a funeral home and arranged for him to be cremated. I took his ashes and scattered them on the beach where we used to go fishing together. I think it's what he would have wanted. My father is angry though. I paid for my brother's cremation with a credit card. It was $6,000 and I don't really have the money to spare, but it was important. It's going to take years to pay it all off, but he was worth that to me. But that isn't how my father sees it. He somehow has this crazy idea that I had $1 million life insurance policy on my brother and that I'm rich now. He and my sister have been showing up at the restaurant where I used to work and demanding to see me. I called my mother and tried to talk some sense into her, but she believes this insane story about life insurance, and now she thinks I killed my brother to collect the insurance money. My sister keeps calling me from different phone numbers and leaving awful threatening messages demanding her cut of the money I don't freaking have. They are all crazy and hurtful, and I am worried this is going to get worse. Update 2 months later. I have a new job. It's better than what I was doing, and it has some great benefits attached. It's in a new state, where I am now, along with a new roommate and her kitty. She knows my situation and won't let anyone claiming to be family inside if they should somehow manage to find me. Everything is in her name that can be, and she's happy to keep it that way to help keep me safe. But it wasn't all good. I made a mistake, and I know a lot of you warned me about it. I could not leave without saying goodbye. Plus, I needed something to remember my brother by. He had a huge collection of old band shirts, and I wanted just one of them. I knew my mother hadn't touched his room, so I knew she would have one. I called her up and told her I wanted to see her. I told her that I wanted to have dinner with her and her alone, and she agreed not to tell my father or my sister about it. I told her I wanted one of his shirts, and she agreed to bring one for me. I told her I was leaving town and that I wanted to say goodbye for closure, and because it was Christmas, which was always such a special time for her and me, I wanted to meet somewhere in public, so I picked a restaurant we had been to before that I knew she liked. I got there early and watched her come in, so I knew she was alone before she sat down. We had a nice meal together. She seemed to have changed her mind about my father's crazy allegations. We talked about my brother. I told her where I'd scattered his ashes in case she wanted to visit with him. When it came time to leave, I paid the bill and asked about the shirt. She told me she left it in the car so it wouldn't get stained. She had been so nice and friendly that dinner that I trusted her. I went with her to the parking lot to get my brother's shirt out of the car for me. My father was waiting there for us, and he had a gun. As soon as I saw him, I screamed as loud as I could and ran. I went back inside the restaurant and yelled that there was a man after me and he had a gun. He barged in screaming, and I ran off into the bathroom and locked myself in. I called the police, and I waited in there with the dispatcher on the phone until they came and got him. I pressed charges, and so did the restaurant. I am sad that I have nothing to remember my brother by, but I like to think he's looking over me. I now have an order of protection. I changed my number and deleted all my social media, and I am thinking of changing my name too. Update 4 years later. The past 4 years have been a lot of growth for me. I did change my name as some suggested. I haven't heard from any of them since I left. I am waiting for it though, and trying my best to make sure it can't ever happen. I wish I had kept a piece of him, or maybe had some of his ashes made into a necklace or something, just to have him with me. Things are honestly pretty good right now.